Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tang Sa Jivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakhan Vitangscha. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.
Could you
So,
just your microphone just because it was a
oh yes, it's a bit far away. Is that better?
keep talking, I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, this is a Mahabharata reading, continuing, but as
Something
it's
interference going chuk chuk. I don't know in the wire. I don't know if anybody else is
is
hearing it.
there? I don't know.
Okay, I
Um,
don't know if
how about now?
yeah, sounds okay. Keep just have to go. Okay, just
Okay.
do it. Not too bad. Okay, fantastic.
All right. I think we're still in Kartik month, but anyway, we're going to finish this Damodarastakam regardless. So we've been reading a verse from Damodarastakam with Sanatan Goswami's purport, one each time we're having a meeting. So we've got so far, and now we're on text 5. So I'll read that. So text 5 of Damodar Astakam. Idam te mukham bojam atyanta nilai vritam kuntalai snigdha raktaischa gopya muhushchumbitam bimba raktadaram me manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai. So he's continuing. If you remember the verse before, he said, his only desire was that this thy form as the young cowherd boy may in my mind remain. What other joy? So continuing in that theme, he's saying again, idam te, this lotus face of thine of beauty rare, dark blue, adorned with locks of sable hair, with crimson pollen patches that confess where thou art kissed by the fond cowherdess, with roseate lips as bimber berries soft, she plants kisses both many times and oft. May this vision within my mind remain. I care not for great and abundant gain. So, in the verse beginning with this, etc., the author resolves thus: I am eagerly desirous to behold the exquisite attractiveness and endearing charm of this, your beautiful face. Sometimes, in the depths of meditation, the sweet beauty and fine features of the Lord are quite inexpressible. Wherefore the poet resorts to the device of metaphor. So he might say, your face resembles a lovely blooming lotus flower, the perception whereof dissipates all sorts of afflictions. It affords the exhilarating rapture of joy to the beholder. May I experience this revelation in my mind over and again. How is the metaphor drawn out? His dark complexion is analogous to the blue lotus, attended by swarms of greedy bees which shadow forth the impression of his loose and tumbling curls, stained with crimson pollen, representing the lip balm transferred by the fond kisses of the cowherdess. The cowherdess here refers to Yashoda or to Radha, respective to their several moods. May this vision appear in my mind many times and oft, or else many times and oft denotes the exclusive great fortune of the cowherdess, who is thus privileged to plant kisses on his face many times and oft. And further, May I have the instantaneous revelation of this vision in my mind. Such is the idea. Or else always remain, that sada carries over from the preceding verse to emphasize and add force to the expression. Lips, or more properly the lower lip, is represented on account of its hue and texture to the likeness of the bimba berry. Finally, in the original, an 100,000 other benefits, rendered here as great abundant gain, does not necessarily denote a particular number, but it includes all other possible attainments. And that's the end of it. So now it's the Mahabharata.
Wow.
Does
So
somebody else want to begin? Did you like that?
no. You're
No?
going. No, you're going to start. Sorry.
Oh, you didn't like it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start, but I won't go on for too long.
Oh yes, you can.
All right. Radhe, Radhe.
What
So
page are you?
we're
Yeah.
still on page 156, and it's chapter 432 of the Mahabharata and 135 of the Aranyaka Parva, and we're still on Tirtha Yatra Parva. So if you remember, he was told him the story about Bandi and Astavakra coming there to challenge him. So that's done. Now we're going to go on to a new subject, but it's all basically the histories of the various tirthas that they're visiting. So Lomasha said, "O king, Madhuvila Samanga can be seen here." Footnote, the name of a river. "This is the place where Bharata bathed, known by the name of Kardamila. After Sachi's husband killed Vritra, we have heard that he was struck by misfortune. He was cleansed of all his sins after bathing in Samanga. O bull among men, this is the place where Mainaka sunk into the earth. In ancient times, Aditi cooked food here so as to obtain sons. O bull among men, ascend this king of mountains and dispel your ill fame and misfortune, incapable of being expressed in words. O king, these are the Kankala mountains loved by the rishis. O Yudhisthira, the great river Ganga is resplendent here. In ancient times, the illustrious Sanat Kumara obtained success here. O Ajamida, by bathing here, you will be cleansed of all your sins. O Kaunteya, with your advisors, silently touch the waters of this lake, known as Punya, the mountain Brigutunga, and the Ganga. The beautiful hermitage of Stula Shiras is there. O Kaunteya, discard all sense of ego and anger. O Pandava, the beautiful hermitage of Raibya is resplendent here. The wise Yavakrita, Bharadwaja's son, died here. Yudhisthira asked, what powers did the rishi who was Bharadwaja's son possess? Why did the sage's son Yavakrita die? I wish to hear all this exactly as it happened. O Lomasha, I find delight in listening to the deeds of those who were equals of the gods. Lomasha said, Bharadwaja and Raibya were friends. They lived here happily in the interior of the forest and in great friendship. Raibya had two sons named Arvavasu and Paravasu. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, Bharadwaja had a son named Yavakrita. Raibya and his sons were learned. The other one was an ascetic, O descendant of the Bharata lineage. Right from childhood, their friendship was unparalleled. Yavakrita noticed that his father was an ascetic and received no honors. O unblemished one, but Raibya and his sons were honored by Brahmanas. The energetic one was tormented by this and became overcome with anger. O Pandava, he performed terrible austerities in order to obtain knowledge of the Vedas. He burnt his body in a gigantic and flaming fire. The great ascetic generated anxiety in Indra's mind. O Yudhishthira, Indra went to Yavakrita and asked him, "Why are you engaged in these supreme torments?" Yavakrita replied, "O one who is worshipped by the masses of gods, I am performing this supreme austerity so that the Vedas, studied by Brahmanas, become manifest in me. O chastiser of Paka, my efforts are for my own knowledge. O Kaushika, O illustrious one, the knowledge of the Vedas must be acquired from a preceptor and take a long time. Therefore, I am engaged in this great endeavor." Indra replied, "O Brahmana Rishi, this is not the path for you. This is not the road you wish to traverse. O Brahmana, why do you wish to destroy yourself? Go and learn from a preceptor's mouth." O descendant of the Bharata lineage, having spoken these words, Shakra left. Yavakrita, whose valor was infinite, also left and once again engaged in austerities. O king, we have heard that with his terrible and great austerities he caused great distress to the king of the gods. He was burnt by the terrible austerities of the great sage. The god who was the slayer of Bala came to restrain him again. The goal that you have set for yourself is not possible. You have not thought properly about how the knowledge of the Vedas can be manifested to you and your father. Yavakrita replied, "O king of the gods, if I do not succeed in my desired objective through these deeds, I will torment myself with greater austerities and engage in greater vows. O Magavan, O king of the gods, listen. If you do not satisfy my desires, everything that I wish for, I will slice off my limbs and offer them into the fire." On realizing that the great soul sage's resolution was firm, the intelligent and wise one thought of a means of restraining him. Then Indra assumed the form of a Brahmin ascetic who was several 100 years old, feeble, and overcome with consumption. He began to construct a bridge of sand on the Bhagirathi at the Tirtha where Yavakrita used to go for his ablutions. Since that supreme of Brahmanas had not paid any heed to his words, Shakra sought to fill up the Ganga with scoops of sand. He filled his fists with sand and threw them into the Bhagirathi. Shakra attempted to construct the bridge so as to attract Yavakrita's attention. When Yavakrita, bull among sages, saw his attempts to build up the river, he broke into loud laughter and uttered these words, "Oh, Brahmana, what is going on? What do you wish to do? Why are you expending this great endeavor on this fruitless objective?" Indra replied, "When I have bound up the Ganga through a bridge, it will be easy to cross. O son, people suffer great difficulties when they repeatedly try to cross it." Yavakrita said, "It is not possible to bind this mighty torrent." Refrain from that which is impossible and embark on something that is possible. Indra replied, I have embarked on this task, just as you have embarked on austerities for the Vedas, a burden of mortification that is impossible to accomplish. Yavakrita said, O Lord of the 30 gods, O chastiser of Paka, if you think that my endeavors are as fruitless as yours, then tell me what you think is possible for me. O Lord of the masses of gods, favor me with the boons so that I become superior to others. Then Indra granted the boons the great ascetic asked for. As you desire, the will become manifest in you and your father. All your other desires will also be satisfied. O Yavakrita, you can go now. Having attained his objective, he went to his father and said, 433. Yavakrita said, O father, the Vedas will become manifest in both you and me. I have obtained other boons through which we will be superior to others. Bharadwaja replied, O son, since you have obtained all the boons that you desired, you must be proud. But once you are filled with pride, you will soon be miserably destroyed. O son, on this an account recited by the gods is cited. In ancient times there was a valorous sage by the name of Valadi. He was afflicted by grief over his son and engaged in difficult austerities so that he might obtain a son who was immortal. He obtained this, but though the gods showed him their favors, they did not make him the equal of the immortals. A mortal one can never be immortal, and life must be subject to causes. Valadi said, O supreme among the gods, these mountains have been established for an eternal time and are indestructible. They will determine my son's span of life. Later, a son was born to him. His name was Medhavi, and he was prone to anger. Having heard about origins, he became insolent and insulted the rishis. He roamed the earth, causing injury to the sages. Then he met the immensely energetic and intelligent Danu Shaksha. Medhavi insulted him, and the valorous one cursed him. Be reduced to ashes. But at these words he was not reduced to ashes. On seeing that, Medhavi was not hurt. The valorous Dhanukaksha caused the determinant of his life to be shattered by buffaloes. When the determinant of was destroyed, the child instantly died. The father grasped his dead son and began to lament. On seeing him loudly lament in great misery, all the ancient sages who were learned in the Vedas recited a verse. Listen to it. Under no circumstances can one who is mortal change his destiny. Dhanushaksha shattered the mountains with buffaloes. Having thus obtained boons, young ascetics are filled with pride and swiftly meet their destruction. Do not become like them. Raibya is immensely valorous, and his sons are like that. O son, therefore be careful that you do not cross him. O son, if he is angered, he can crush you with his wrath. Raibya is a learned ascetic and a great rishi prone to anger. Yavakrita replied, O father, I will do as you say. Have no anxiety on my account. You are my father, and I will honor Raibya as I honor you. Lomasha said, having thus replied to his father in sweet words, Yavakrita, who had nothing to fear, took great pleasure in causing injury to other rishis.
There was a
So
thing that you said there just then
mm,
about God. I wanted to, but I did wanted to ask, but I didn't want to butt in. Um, oh, goodness gracious, I can't remember. It was. No, I can't remember. Silly. It was.
well,
It
why
was.
not let Mark have a go because he's missed out.
Is he there? Does he want to read from his thing?
I'm sure he wouldn't mind.
Was
And
it?
then there's Karnai, obviously, and Braja and
But
Tyrone.
yeah,
You, of course.
but you
But
sound like it felt like you were just getting going. I felt that we needed a bit more from you.
well, I'll go on for a bit more then.
Yeah, but okay, so I suppose Mark, over to he's going to read a bit more, and then if you're up for it, then you can come next. I think he heard that. He's on mute, though.
Okay. So 434. Lomasha said. So now he's gone around injuring the rishis, this Yavakrita. One day, in the month of Madhava, footnote, Madhava is another name for the month of Vaishakha, spring. That's
Sorry, which
springtime.
page again? Sorry,
Page 160.
60.
60.
Yeah, okay.
Lomasha said, one day in the month of Madhava, Yavakrita, who was without any fear, roamed around and arrived at Raibya's hermitage. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, he saw the beautiful hermitage adorned with trees in blossom. He saw his daughter-in-law roaming around like a Kinnara lady. Having lost his senses because of desire, Yavakrita shamelessly told the bashful one, come to me. Knowing his conduct and fearing his curse, as well as the energetic Raibya, she went to him and said, let it be that way. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, taking her to a lonely spot, he injected her with seed. Raibya, the destroyer of enemies, then returned to his own hermitage and saw his daughter-in-law, Paravasu's wife, distressed and weeping. O Yudhishthira, he comforted her with sweet words and asked her the reason. The fortunate one then told him everything that Yavakrita had said and also what she had replied after carefully thinking it over. Having heard of Yavakrita's misconduct, Raibya was consumed by great anger, and it seemed as if his heart would burn. The ascetic's anger was great. He plucked a lock from his matted hair and, observing the rites, offered it into the fire. A woman arose, exactly like the other one in beauty. He again plucked out another lock and offered it into the fire. A Rakshasa with terrible eyes, fearful in form, arose. The two of them then asked Raibya, what should we do? In anger, the rishi replied, kill Yavakrita. They promised that they would act as they had been asked to and went to kill Yavakrita. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the Kritya, footnote, a Kritya is a female deity worshipped for magical and destructive purposes, end of footnote, whom the great souled one had created, went to Yavakrita and having deluded him, robbed him of his water pot. Without his water pot, Yavakrita became unclean. The Rakshasa then rushed at him with an upraised spear. On seeing him approach her with an upraised spear and with intent to kill, Yavakrita swiftly arose and dashed towards a pond. On finding that the pond was bereft of water, Yavakrita swiftly went to all the rivers, but they had also dried up. Pursued by the terrible Rakshasa with the upraised spear, and in fear he suddenly went to his father's Agnihotra. But his entry was forcibly barred by a Sudra guard who was blind. O king, The doorkeeper restrained him by force, while the Sudra restrained Yavakrita. The Rakshasa pursued him with the spear. His heart pierced, he fell down. Having killed Yavakrita, the Rakshasa returned to Raibya. With Raibya's permission, he began to roam around with one who was not an Arya. Footnote, the Kritya. Okay.
A little bit more. Okay.
All right. A little
Yeah,
bit, because it's only a little bit of this
yeah,
chapter,
yeah.
and then
Finish that.
Mark can take over.
Okay, yeah. Finish that.
Lomasha said, but that dealt with why this Brahmin was died there. O Kaunteya, having completed the studies and rituals and having collected firewood, Bharadwaja entered his hermitage. On seeing him, all the fires used to stand up and greet him. But because his son had been killed, they did not stand up then. On witnessing this distortion in the Agnihotra, the great ascetic spoke to the blind Sudra house guard who was seated there. O Sudra, why are the fires not delighted on seeing me? Nor are you as you used to earlier. Is everything well in the hermitage? Is there any chance that my dim-witted son has gone to Raibya? Tell me all this quickly. My mind is not at peace. The Sudra replied, Indeed, your dim-witted son did go to Raibya. He is now lying dead, killed by the powerful Rakshasa. He was pursued by the Rakshasa with an upraised spear. But as a doorkeeper, I restrained him at the door of the place where the fire is kept. He desired water, but was certainly in an unclean state. He was then swiftly killed by the Rakshasa with the upraised spear. On hearing these unpleasant words of the Sudra, Bharadwaja grasped his dead son and lamented in great misery. You performed austerities for the welfare of the Brahmanas, so that the Vedas, not studied by Brahmanas, might become manifest in you. Your conduct towards the great soul Brahmanas was also driven by welfare. You exhibited no sin towards all beings. Nevertheless, you became harsh. O son, I prohibited you from seeing the place where Raibya lives, because it is like Yama, the bringer of death. But you went to that mean place. The immensely energetic one knows me to be old, and that you were my only son. But that supremely ill-minded one fell prey to anger. Because of Raibya's deed, I am now mourning for my son. Oh, son, because of your loss and your death, I will give up my life, the most precious thing on earth, just as I am giving up my body out of sorrow for my son. Raibya's eldest son will soon kill him, though he will be innocent. Happy are the men to whom sons have not been born. They roam happily without having to grieve over a son. Who can be more evil than those who, grieving over the death of their sons, are miserable and disturbed in senses, curse their dearest friends? Having seen my son dead, I have cursed my best friend. Where is there a second one who confronts such calamity? Having thus lamented in many ways, Bharadwaja cremated his son. Later, he himself entered a fire that had been kindled well. All right, now I'll stop.
Wow, that was Mark, would you like to read? Are you ready?
Yes. Okay. Yes. I'll
Brilliant.
try.
Okay. I'll follow you, and then Kanai can follow me.
Okay. Okay. Oops, I just torn the page. Okay, just a couple of pages. Okay then. Hare Krishna. Lomasa said, am I at the right place here? Yes. Lomasa said, at that very time, the mighty king Vrihadyumna of high fortune, who was the Yajaman of Ravya, commenced the sacrifice. And the two sons of Ravya, Arvavasu and Paravasu were engaged by that intelligent monarch to assist him in the performance of the ceremony. And, O son of Kunti, taking the permission of their father, they too went to the sacrifice, while Ravya, with Paravasu's wife, remained in the hermitage. And it came to pass that one day, desirous of seeing his wife, Paravasu returned home alone, and he met his father in the wood, wrapped in the skin of a black antelope. And the night was far advanced and dark, and Paravasu, blinded by drowsiness in that deep wood, mistook his father for a straggling deer, and mistaking him for a deer, Paravasu, for the sake of personal safety, unintentionally killed his father. Then, O son of Bharat, after performing the funeral rites of his father, he returned to the sacrifice and there addressed his brother, saying, "Thou wilt never be able to perform this task unassisted. I again have killed our father, mistaking him for a deer. O brother, for me, do thou observe a vow prescribed in the case of killing a Brahmana. O Muni, I shall be able to perform this work, sacrifice, without any assistance." Aravasu said, "Do thou then thyself officiate at this sacrifice of the gifted Vrihadyumna, and for thee will I, bringing my senses under perfect control, observe the vow prescribed in the case of slaying a Brahmana."
Mark,
Lomas,
could you
yes.
adjust the camera so we can see your face? Because we're getting like, yes, please. And then, yeah, so, and then even down, so because when you look down, we're losing your mouth. You have to kind of like look what you look like when you notice. Look
I'll
down,
do it, Mark.
look at the camera, and just get your, yeah, like that. So we can see your chin. Your chin, you got to put the angle. Yeah,
Is that
sorry.
better?
That's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Is that better now?
Thank you. It's very nice. Thank you so much.
Okay, okay.
See your body face.
Yes, okay. Sorry, now where am I? Yes. Lomasa said, having observed the vow relative to the killing of a Brahmana, the sage Aravasu came back to the sacrifice. Seeing his brother arrive, Paravasu, in accents choked with malice, addressed Vrihadyumna, saying, "O king, see that this slayer of a Brahmana enter not into thy sacrifice, nor look at it. Even by a glance, the killer of a Brahmana can without doubt do thee harm." O Lord of men, immediately on hearing this, the king ordered his attendants to turn out Aravasu. O king, on being driven out by the king's attendants and repeatedly addressed by them, "O slayer of a Brahmana," Aravasu more than once cried, "It is not that I have killed a Brahmana." Not did he own that he had observed the vow for his own sake. Sorry, that must be a nor. That's a spelling mistake. Nor did he own that he had observed the vow for his own sake. He said that his brother had committed the sin and that he had freed him therefrom. Having said this in anger and being reprimanded by the attendants, the Brahmana sage of austere penances retired in silence into the woods. There, betaking himself to the severest penances, the great Brahmana sought the protection of the sun. Thereupon, the revelation teaching the mantra relative to the worship of the sun became manifest unto him, and that eternal deity who obtaineth his share of the sacrificial butter first appeared before him in an embodied form. Lomasa said, "The celestials, O king, were well pleased with Aravasu for his acts, and they made him engaged as the chief priest in the sacrifice of Vrihadyumna and Paravasu, to be dismissed from it. Then Agni and the other celestials of their own accord bestowed boons on Aravasu. Sorry, that's Arvavasu. Yes. And they also prayed that his father might be restored to life. He further prayed that his brother might be absolved from his sin, that his father might have no recollection of his having been slain, and that Bharadwaja and Yavakri might both be restored to life, and that the solar revelation might attain celebrity on earth. Then the gods said, so be it, and conferred on him other boons also. Thereat, O Yudhisthira, all of these persons regained their life. Yavakri now addressed Agni and the other deities, saying, I had obtained knowledge of all the Vedas and also practiced penances. How came it then, O chief of the immortals, that Ravya succeeded in killing me in that way? Thereupon the gods said, Yavakri, never act again as those have done. What thou askest about is quite possible, for thou hast learnt the Vedas without exertion and without the help of a preceptor. But this man, Ravya, bearing various troubles, had satisfied his preceptor by his conduct, and obtained from the latter the excellent Vedas through great exertions and in a long time. Lomasa said, having said this to Yavakri and restored all those to life, the celestials with Indra at their head ascended to the heaven. Here, O Yudhisthira, is the sacred hermitage of that sage, embellished with trees bearing blossoms and fruits at all seasons. O tiger among kings, dwelling at this spot, thou wilt be delivered from all thy sins. Lomasa said, O descendant of Bharata, O king, now hast thou left behind the mountains Usiravija, Mainaka, and Shweta, as well as the Kala hills, O son of Kunti. O bull among the descendants of Bharata, here flow before thee the 7 Gangas. This spot is pure and holy. Here Agni blazeth forth without intermission. No son of Manu is able to obtain a sight of this wonder. Therefore, O son of Pandu, concentrate your mind in order that he may intently behold these tirthas. Now wilt thou see the playground of the gods, marked with their footprints, as we have passed the mountain Kala. We shall now ascend that white rock, the mountain Mandara, inhabited by the Yakshas, Manibhadra, and Kubera, the king of the Yakshas. O king, at this place 80,000 fleet Gandharvas and 4 times as many Kimpurushas and Yakshas of various shapes and forms, holding various weapons, attend upon Manibhadra, the king of the Yakshas. In these regions their power is very great, and in speed they are even as the wind. They can, without doubt, displace even the Lord of the Celestials from his seat. Protected by them, and also watched over by the Rakshasas, these mountains have been rendered inaccessible. Therefore, O son of Pratha, do thou concentrate thy thoughts. Besides these, O son of Kunti, here are fierce ministers of Kuvera and his Rakshasa kindred. We shall have to meet them, and therefore, O Kunti's son, gather up thy energies. O king, the mountain Kailash is 6 yojanas in height. It contains a gigantic jujube tree. And, O son of Kunti, numberless gods and yakshas and rakshasas and kinnaras and nagas and suparnas and gandharvas pass this way in going towards Kubera's place. O king, protected by me as well as by the might of Bhimasena, and also in virtue of thy own asceticism and self-command, do thou today mix with them. May King Varuna and Yama, conqueror of battles, and Ganga and Yamuna, and this mountain, and the Maruts, and the twin Ashwins, and all rivers and lakes vouchsafe thy safety. And, O effulgent one, mayest thou have safety from all the celestials and the Asuras and the Vasus. O goddess Ganga, I hear thy roar from this golden mountain sacred to Indra. O goddess of high fortune, in these mountain regions, protect the king worshipped by all of the Ajamida race. O daughter of the mountain, this king is about to enter into these mountain regions. Do thou therefore confer protection upon him. Having addressed the river, Lomasa bade Yudhishthira, saying, Be thou careful. Yudhishthira said, This confusion of Lomasa is unprecedented. Therefore protect ye Krishna and be not careless. Lomasa knows this place to be certainly difficult of access. Therefore do ye practice here the utmost cleanliness. Vaishampayana said. He next addressed his brother Bhima of vast prowess, saying, O Bhimasena, do thou protect Krishna carefully. This is obviously Krishna, Draupadi. Whether Arjuna be near or away, Krishna, in times of danger, ever seeketh protection from thee alone. Then the high-souled monarch approached the twins Nakula and Sahadev, and after smelling their heads and rubbing their persons with tears, said unto them, Do not fear. Proceed, however, with caution. Shall I stop there?
I think that's pretty good. I enjoyed that. That was lovely, Mark. It was brilliant. It's not that much different. I'm not reading the book. I'm just hearing it, and it's
the same.
It's the same but different.
Same but different.
Kanai, would you want to read? I could read now, but do you feel like reading, Kanai?
I do. I need more chance to get ready.
So do you want me to read a little bit
Yes,
before
please.
Okay, so I'm going to read a bit, Mark, now, but I need to know where to go.
Great.
So you need to tell me where. Madan, can you help me? I wasn't following it in the book on the page. Where am I? Okay, here I am. Sorry. Start video. Okay. I need to find out where I am in the book.
Mathura, page 166.
166?
Yes.
Yes.
Chapter 438.
Ooh. Okay, I've got it. Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to start. So there we are, 438, 141 of the Mahabharata, Tirtha Yatra Parva. What an epic it is. So they're all off in their still on their theatres and all of this. So get that right. Wait a minute, I need to get that. That's a different angle. 1 minute. I've got to get that right. Sorry. I've got my whole thing at a different angle today. Let me try and get that right. Okay, I'm going to go over here. That's a bit better. Sorry, excuse me. Okay. Lomasha said, O Kunteya. Is this it? No, I'm in the wrong page, aren't I? Oh, I've lost the page.
Starts, Yudhishthira said.
I know. Yeah, I just lost the page while I was faffing around. 166.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I thought it. Okay, excuse me. Yudhishthira said, There are hidden beings here. Powerful Rakshasas, O Vrikrodara. We are capable of passing them with fire and austerities. O Kunteya, resorting to strength, control your hunger and thirst. O extender of the Kuru lineage, resort to your strength and dexterity. You have heard the words of the Rishi about Mount Kailash. O Kunteya, use your intelligence to think about how Krishna will pass this place. O Lord, alternatively, return from here with Sahadev, Domya, the cooks, the superintendents of the kitchens, all the servants, the chariots, the horses, and other brahmanas who cannot bear the difficulties of the road, with all of them. O Bhima, O one with the large eyes. The three of us will go on, restrained in our food and rigid in our vows. The immensely ascetic Lomasha and I and Nakula. Wait carefully for my return at Gangadwara. Dwell there and protect Draupadi until I return. Bhima said, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the princess is oppressed by exhaustion and miserable. But in a desire to see Svetavahana, there is no doubt that she will travel. Your suffering is also acute at not being able to see him. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, it will be even more without Sahadev, I and Krishna. If you so wish, let all the chariots return with the servants, the cooks and the superintendents of the kitchen and whoever else you think of.
Mathura, can I just
Yeah.
interject? Who is
Yeah.
Svetavahana?
It's a good question. Svetavahana is literally one whose transport, Vahana, is white, Sweta, meaning one whose horses are white. Aha. Arjuna's horses are white, and Svetavahana is one of Arjuna's names. There you go. Now we know who he was talking about, so I've got to go back again. Bhima replied, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the princess is oppressed by exhaustion and miserable, but in a desire to see Svetavahana, Arjuna, of course. There is no doubt that she will travel. Your suffering is also acute at not being able to see him. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, it will be even more without Sahadev, I and Krishna. If you so wish, let all the chariots return with the servants, the cooks, the superintendents of the kitchen, whoever else you could think. I do not wish to leave you here in these mountains infested by Rakshasas in this uneven and difficult region. This immensely fortunate princess is devoted to her vows. O tiger among men, she will not be able to return without you. Like that, Sahadev is always devoted to you. I know his mind and he will never return. O great king, in addition, all of us wish to see Swayasachi. I suppose that's Arjuna. Okay, so all of us are desirous and therefore all of us will travel together. If we cannot use our chariots to travel over these mountains with many caverns, we will travel on foot. O king, do not worry. I will carry Panchali wherever she is incapable of travelling on her own. That is what I have decided in accordance with my intelligence. O king, do not worry. I will also carry these two delicate warriors who are the delight of Madri. Isn't he such a chap, old Bhima? He's the dude. I will bear them over difficult terrain if they are incapable of doing it themselves. Yudhisthira said, O Bhima, since you have spoken like this, let your strength increase so that you are capable of carrying Draupadi on this long journey and also the twins. O fortunate one, no one else can do it. May your strength, fame, devotion to Dharma and deeds increase. Isn't it wonderful? Woo! O mighty armed one, if you are able to carry your brothers and Krishna, may you not suffer from exhaustion. May defeat never confront you. Vaishampayana said. Then the beautiful Krishna laughed and spoke these words. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, I will travel. Do not be anxious on my account. Lomasha said, it is possible to traverse Mount Gandhamadana with austerities. O Kunteya, O king, therefore let all of us be united with austerities. Nakula, Sahadev, Bhimashena, I and you, so that we are able to see Svetavahana, Arjuna. Vaishampayana said, O king, having happily conversed in this fashion, they happily saw the extensive region of Subahu, prosperous with many elephants and horses, infested with kiratas, tanganas, and full of hundreds of kunindas. these are all mountain races. Thought they were animals, but they're races of people. This Himalayan region is frequented by the gods and has many extraordinary things. On seeing them, Subahu, lord of the Kunindas, was extremely delighted. He met them at the frontiers and welcomed them with homage. Having been thus worshipped, all of them happily dwelt there for some time. When the sun was clear, they left for the Himalaya mountains. O king, the servants, Indrasena being the foremost, the superintendents of the kitchens, the cooks, and all of the Draupadi's retinue were entrusted by the Maharajas to the king, who was the lord of the Kunindas. The Pandavas, the immensely valorous descendants of the Kaurava lineage, then slowly left that region on foot, together with Krishna. Draupadi. They were extremely happy at the prospect of seeing Dhananjaya. Wow. I don't mind. Kanai, are you ready? Would you like to take over now?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go on. It's beautiful. Isn't it? They all love each other so much. It's so beautiful. And well, it's interesting because everybody knows that Draupadi is really in love with Arjuna, and so they're the kind of the dynamic duo of the whole dynamic. And it's the respect, isn't it? It's just the brilliant how they all give space to each other. I just love it. Anyway,
I would like to kindly request just a little brief recap of what's going on, because
Madanji,
I'm
Panditji.
sorry. Got-
Okay, no, it's a good point. It's a good
As
at this
yeah,
point.
Well, they're off now to Gandhamadana mountain with the hopes of seeing Arjuna.
yeah,
And it's a very difficult way. Mortals can't usually get there very easily. And so Bhima has offered to carry them all.
okay.
So that's where we're at now.
What page is it?
What page, Matura?
God, I was just
I think it's
169, the top,
yeah.
439142. Just starting the
Okay.
new. Got it?
Mm.
Okay, Haribol.
Yudhisthira said, "Oh, you see me all right. Oh, Bhimisen, oh, twins, oh, Panchali, listen. There exists nothing in beings that is destroyed." I want to say that again. There exists nothing in beings that is destroyed. Look at us roaming in the forest. We may tell each other that we are weak and oppressed, but though incapable, must travel in a desire to see Dhananjaya. It burns my body, Arjuna's absence, that is, like fire on a pile of cotton. I do not see the brave Dhananjaya by my side. Yeah. In a desire to see him, I live with my younger brothers in the forest. Because of the extreme oppression meted out to Yagyaseni, that brave one must also be burning. Yes. I do not see the infinitely energetic Partha, Nakula's elder, the terrible wielder of the invincible bow. O Vrikodara, I am tormented on that account. With a desire to see him, I have visited beautiful tirthas, forests, and lakes, together with you. I have not seen the brave Dhananjaya devoted to the truth for 5 years. O Vrikodara, since I do not see Bibatsu, it is consuming me. O Vrikodara, since I do not see the dark and mighty armed Gudakesh, whose brave gait is like that of a lion, I am tormented. O Vrikodara, I do not see that best of men, accomplished in the use of weapons, skillful in battle, and the equal of any archer. It is for this reason that I am tormented. Among the masses of enemies, he strides like angry Yama, the destroyer. Dhananjaya has the shoulders of a lion and is like a maddened elephant. He is not inferior to Shakra in strength and valor. Partha, the one with the white horses, is infinitely brave and is elder to the twins. On not being able to see Falguna, I am immersed in immense grief. Even when he was insulted by an inferior man, he was always forgiving in his conduct. He gave shelter and protection to those who walked the straight path, but to those who were crooked and to those who sought to kill him through deceitful means, even if it happened to be the wielder of the Vajra himself, Indra, no doubt, yeah, he was like virulent poison. The greatly strong Bibatsu is infinite in his soul. The powerful one always granted protection to an enemy who sought refuge with him. He was always our refuge. He destroyed his enemies in battle. He robbed all their jewels, and he brought all of us happiness. In earlier times, it was through his valor that I obtained many celestial jewels of different types, those that Siodhana now possesses. O brave one, in earlier times, through the strength of his arms, I once possessed an assembly hall. O Pandava, it was full of all kinds of gems and was famous in the 3 worlds. He is like Vasudeva in his valor. He is like Kartavirya's equal in war. He is invincible and unconquered in battle. I do not see Falguna. The one who slew enemies with his valor was born after the immensely valorous Sankarshan. As Balaram. After Bhima, who is unvanquished in battle, and after Vasudeva. The strength of his arms is equal to the power of Purandara. He is equal to the wind in his speed, to the moon in the beauty of his face, and to eternal death in his anger. O mighty armed one, O brave one, desiring to see that tiger among men, all of us will now enter Mount Gandhamadana. The extensive Badari is there, and the hermitage of Nara and Narayan. It is always inhabited by yakshas. We will see that supreme mountain. We will see Kubera's beautiful lotus pond, protected by Rakshasas. Observing great austerities, we will traverse on foot. O Vrikodara, one who has failed in austerities cannot reach that region, nor can one who is cruel or avaricious, or one who has not calmed himself. O Bhima, in order to follow Arjuna's footsteps, all of us will go there. We will be armed and strap our swords. We will be accompanied by brahmanas who observe great vows. Those who are not controlled encounter flies, gnats, mosquitoes, tigers, lions, and reptiles. O Partha, but those who are controlled do not see them. Therefore, let us control our souls. Let us be restrained in our food. We will enter Mount Gandhamadana to see Dhananjaya. 440. Vaishampayana said, all of those infinitely energetic warriors were excellent archers. They had tautened bows and quivers full of arrows. They had armor for their arms and their fingers. They had swords. They grasped them and took the best of the Brahmanas with them. O king, together with Panchali, they proceeded towards Gandhamadana. They saw lakes, rivers, mountains, and forests on the top of the mountain, and trees that provided a lot of shade. There were regions that always had flowers and fruit, frequented by masses of Devarishis. The brave ones controlled their souls and lived on roots and fruit. They traveled through highlands and low, regions that were uneven and full of dangers. They saw many different kinds of animals. The brave and great-souled ones then entered Mount Gandhamadana, frequented by rishis, siddhas, and immortals, loved by Gandharvas and Apsaras, and a mountain peopled by Kinnaras. O Lord of the earth! As the brave ones entered Mount Gandhamadana, a violent storm arose with a large quantity of rain. A gigantic cloud of dust arose, raising a mass of dry leaves. This suddenly covered the earth, the sky, and heaven. Nothing could be seen when the sky was covered with dust. They were not even capable of communicating to one another what they thought in their minds. Their eyes were enveloped in the darkness, and they could not see. They could not even see each other. O descendant of the Bharata lineage! They were battered by the storm of rocks and dust. The trees were torn asunder by the wind and were forcibly flung down on the ground. A great sound arose from other trees. Is the sky falling down on the ground? Are the mountains splitting asunder? Deluded by the wind, this is what all of them thought in their minds. They were battered by the wind and were frightened. They felt their way with their hands, groping for trees, anthills, and uneven terrain along the road, and lay down. Grasping his bow and grasping Krishna, the immensely strong Bhimasen sought shelter under a tree. Dharmaraj and Domya lay down in that great forest. Sahadev, who had the Agnihotra with him, lay down under a mountain. Footnote. Sahadev was in charge of carrying the sacred fire. Nakula, the other Brahmanas, and the greatly ascetic Lomasha were alarmed, and seeking refuge in the trees lay down. Then the wind died down. The storm of dust was calmed. A great downpour started from the heavy clouds. Aided by the swift wind, there was torrential rain and hail incessantly. This flooded the ground on all sides, O Lord of the earth. On every side, rivers that were headed towards the ocean were covered with foam and dirt and overflowed. Bearing large quantities of water and overflowing with foam, they rushed with a thunderous roar, uprooting gigantic trees. When the rain subsided, the wind died down, the water flowed down to the lower regions, and the sun appeared. All of them slowly emerged and assembled. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, once again, the brave ones proceeded towards Mount Gandhamadana. 441. Vaishampayana said, when the great-souled Pandavas had travelled a short distance, Draupadi, who was not accustomed to travelling on foot, sat down. She was exhausted and miserable from the storm and the wind. The famous Panchali was delicate and fainted. When the black-eyed one fell down with faintness, she clasped her thighs with her round and beautiful arms. Trying to support herself with her thighs, which were like the trunks of an elephant, she suddenly fell down on the ground, like a trembling plantain tree. On seeing the one with the beautiful hips fall like a clinging creeper, the valorous Nakula dashed forward and grasped her. Nakula said, O king, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the dark-eyed daughter of the king of Panchala is exhausted and has fallen down on the ground. Be considerate. She does not deserve unhappiness, but the one whose gait is slow has suffered great unhappiness. O great king, comfort her. She is tired out through exhaustion. On hearing these words, the king was extremely distressed. Bhima and Sahadev also swiftly rushed towards her. Kaunteya looked at her. Yudhishthira looked at her, yes. She was wan in face and emaciated. I'm laughing because it's wan, W-A-N, which she was wan in face and emaciated. Taking her on his lap, the one with Dharma in his soul began to lament. She was accustomed to sleeping on beautifully spread beds in houses that were guarded well. This beautiful one is deserving of happiness. How is it that she has fallen down on the ground? Her feet are delicate. She is deserving of boons. Her face is like a lotus. But because of me, it is now darkened. Having been addicted to dice, what have I done out of my stupidity? With Krishna, I am now wandering around in this forest, infested by masses of animals. Her father, King Drupad, bestowed the large-eyed one, thinking that with the Pandavas as her husbands, Panchali would obtain happiness. None of that has happened. She is oppressed by exhaustion and unhappiness. She has fallen down on the ground because of my evil deeds. When Dharmaraj Yudhisthira lamented in this fashion, Tomya and all the other supreme among Brahmanas came to him. They comforted him and pronounced their benedictions over him. They recited mantras to keep the Rakshasas away and performed rites. The supreme rishis recited mantras for the sake of peace. The Pandavas repeatedly touched her with their cold hands. Fanned by the cool breeze that had drops of water mixed in it, Panchali slowly recovered and regained consciousness. They laid out the distressed Krishna on antelope skins that were spread out. After having rested, the ascetic lady regained her senses. With calloused hands, the twins slowly rubbed her red-soled feet, marked auspiciously. Dharmaraj Yudhisthira also comforted her. The best of Kurus then spoke to Bhimasen. "O Bhima, there will be many mountains. They will be uneven, covered with ice, and difficult of access. O mighty armed one, how will Krishna be able to traverse them?" Bhimasen replied, "O king, I will myself carry the princess, the twins, and you, bull among men. O Indra among kings, do not unnecessarily be anxious. Alternatively, my son is great in valor. He can roam the skies and is my equal in strength. If you say so, Gatotkacha will carry all of us." Having been instructed by Dharmaraj, he remembered his Rakshasa son. As soon as his father had thought of him, Gatotkacha, with Dharma in his soul, appeared. The mighty armed one greeted the Brahmanas and the Pandavas. Hands joined in salutation, and they also welcomed him. Truth was his valor, and he spoke to his father Bhimasen. "You thought of me, and I swiftly arrived to serve you. O mighty armed one, what is your command? Without a doubt, I will do everything." On hearing this, Bhimasen embraced the Rakshasa. I'm going to go up until 443, so whoever wants to think about reading next can think about it. 442.
Fabulous.
Huh?
Carry on
Okay.
as much as you want to.
All right. 442. Yudhisthira said, "O Bhima, this bull among Rakshasas is learned in Dharma. He is always brave and strong. This son born from you is devoted to us. Let him immediately carry his mother," meaning Draupadi. "O Bhima, with the strength of your arms and your terrifying valor, I will remain unhurt and will journey to Gandha Madana with Panchali." Vaishampayana said, on hearing his brother's words, Bhimasen, tiger among men, commanded his son Gatotkacha, the destroyer of enemies, "O Hidimba's son, your unvanquished mother is exhausted. O son, you are capable of going anywhere at will. You are strong. Take her up into the sky. O fortunate one, carry her on your shoulders. Follow us in the sky, but travel low so that she does not feel oppressed. Ghatotkacha replied, I am alone capable of carrying Dharmaraj, Tomya, the princess, and the twins. It shouldn't be surprising that I can do it now when I have help. Having said this, Ghatotkacha carried Krishna in the midst of the brave Pandavas. Others carried the Pandavas, so there were other Rakshasas that's saying in the footnotes that are there to help. Lomash, whose splendor was unrivaled, travelled along the path, followed by the Siddhas through his own powers, like a second sun. Commanded by the Indra among the Rakshasas, other immensely powerful Rakshasas took up all the Brahmanas and travelled. They glanced at the extremely beautiful forests and groves and travelled towards the extensive Badari. Carried by those swift Rakshasas, whose strength was immense, the brave ones quickly covered a long distance in a short span of time. They saw many regions infested by mlechas, full of many stores of jewels. They saw mountains and foothills, the stores of many minerals. They were populated by Vidyadharas and had large numbers of monkeys and kinnaras, in addition to Kimpurushas and Gandharvas. There were networks of rivers frequented by many different kinds of birds. They were visited by many different kinds of animals. They were adorned by monkeys. Having passed over many regions and over northern Kuru, they saw the supreme and extraordinary Mount Kailasha. Near it, they saw the hermitage of Nara and Narayan. It was full of celestial trees that always bore flowers and fruit. They saw the beautiful Badari with a circular trunk. Let me read the footnote for that. Badari is a jujube tree. The hermitage of Badari is so named because a giant Badari tree stood there. End of footnote. It was always tender and offered unfettered shade. It was supremely beautiful. It had tender leaves and was smooth and radiant. Its branches were large. They were expansive and were limitless in luster. It was full of fruit that was tasty and divine. They dripped honey and were always celestial, beloved of the masses of Maharshis. It was always populated by masses of different kinds of birds that frolicked madly. It grew in a region where there were no mosquitoes or gnats. There were many roots and fruits and a lot of water there. It was covered with blue grass and frequented by the gods and the Gandharvas. It stood on a flat stretch of ground that was naturally beautiful. It was gentle from the touch of snow and was a beautiful region bereft of thorns. Having reached the spot with the bulls among the Brahmanas, all the great-souled ones descended slowly from the shoulders of the Rakshasas. O king, together with the bulls among the Brahmanas, the Pandavas saw the beautiful hermitage, the refuge of Nara and Narayana. The sacred place was devoid of darkness, though it was untouched by the sun's rays. It was free from afflictions like hunger, thirst, coldness, and heat. It was the destroyer of all sorrow. It was crowded by masses of Maharishis and complete with the attainment of the Brahman. O great king! It was difficult of access to men who were outside the pale of Dharma. It was celestial with the homage of offerings and oblations. It was maintained well and fragrant. There were offerings of celestial flowers, and it was radiant everywhere. There were large stores for fire. It had lovely ladles. It was adorned with large and firm pots full of water. It was a place of refuge for all beings and resounded with the sound of the Brahman. That hermitage destroyed all exhaustion and was a celestial hermitage. It was full of beauty and produced immeasurable merit. It was frequented by those who worshipped the gods. They lived on roots and fruit. They said roots and shoots. They were in control of their senses and were attired in bark and black antelope skins. They were like the sun and the fire in their austerities and were controlled in their souls. Those Maharishis had restrained their senses and were in search of salvation. Those immensely fortunate ones were learned in the Brahman and were immersed in the Brahman. The intelligent Yudhisthira, Dharma's son, approached those immensely energetic rishis with his brothers, with restraint and purity. All the Maharishis had divine sight. When they saw Yudhisthira, they welcomed him with great delight. Those who were always devoted to studies pronounced their blessings over him. They were the equal of the fire, and they happily welcomed him in accordance with the prescribed rites. They offered him pure water, flowers, roots, and fruit. Yudhisthira, Dharma's son, was restrained and happily accepted the offerings of the Maharishis. That beautiful place was divinely scented and was like Shakra's abode. O unblemished one, together with Krishna and his brothers and the Brahmanas who were learned in the Vedas and the Vedangas, the Pandava happily entered the pure place that was like heaven itself. The one with Dharma in his soul saw Nara and Narayana's spot, worshipped by the gods and the Devarishis. It was rendered beautiful by the Bhagirati. The divine fruit dripped with honey, and it was frequented by masses of Brahmarishis. The great-souled ones approached and dwelt there with the Brahmanas. They saw Mount Mainaka with its golden peak, frequented by masses of Brahmanas, the auspicious Bindusara, and the sacred and great Tirtha of Bhagirati, with its cool and clear water, with gems, corals, and stones, and adorned with beautiful trees. Long sentence. Hope you got that. There were divine blossoms that heightened the pleasure of the mind. The great-souled Pandavas saw and roamed around there. They repeatedly made offerings to the gods and the ancestors. The brave bulls among men dwelt there with the Brahmanas. The Pandavas, tigers among men, who were the equals of the immortals, took great pleasure in watching Krishna sport there in various ways.
I'm not reading the book, sorry, but it sounds. I mean, I don't. Is there somebody else who?
If no one's ready, I'll just keep going. I don't mind.
Keep going. Just keep
Up
going.
until 444, and that'll be me. Yeah. So it's like
I can have a go if you don't want.
Okay, that's
But Matura, you have to reactivate my video. You turned it off.
Did I? You mean
Yeah.
Mud or Brudger or yours, Brudger?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Did I turn it off?
yeah.
Now try.
There you go.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad you know what's going on.
Sorry, which page are we on?
177.
177. Okay.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, that was brilliant.
443. Vaishampayana said, "Those brave tigers among men observed great purity and lived there for 6 nights, hoping to see Dhananjaya. The Pandavas sported with delight in that beautiful grove that was pleasing to all beings. It had trees laden with blossoms and were bent down, burdened with fruit. It was beautiful everywhere, astir with flocks of male cuckoos. The foliage was tender and uninterrupted. It was cool with shade and charming. There were beautiful ponds with clear water. There were lotuses and lilies there. making every side dazzling. The Pandavas were delighted at witnessing these beautiful sights there. A fragrant breeze wafted there, pleasant to the touch. This gladdened the hearts of all the Pandavas, Krishna, and the bulls among the Brahmanas. Then, in accordance with its own wishes, a breeze blew from the northeast. It carried with it a divine lotus with 1,000 petals. Panchali saw that beautiful and pure lotus descend on the ground, redolent with divine fragrance and carried by the wind. O king, the fortunate one approached that pure and supremely fragrant flower and extremely happily told Bhimsen, O Bhima, look at this divine, dazzling, and supreme blossom. It is full of fragrance and has delighted my heart. O destroyer of enemies, I will give this to Dharmaraj. But to satisfy my desire, get me others so I can take them back to the hermitage in Kamyaka. O Partha, if I am your beloved, get them for me in large numbers. I wish to take them back to the hermitage in Kamyaka. Having addressed these words to Bhimasen, the unblemished Panchali then took the flower to Dharmaraj. Learning about the queen's wishes, the immensely strong Bhima, bull among men, departed to do that which would bring pleasure to his beloved. He swiftly left in the direction from which the breeze had carried the flower, so that he might obtain more flowers. He grasped his bow that was inlaid with gold and arrows that were like the virulent venom of snakes. He was like an angry king of the animals, or like an elephant in rout. The one with the strength of his arms wished to do that which would bring pleasure to Draupadi. The strong one was without fear or delusion, and climbed up the mountain. It was covered with trees, creepers, and lantanas, and strewn with blue stones. The destroyer of enemies went up the sacred mountain, frequented by kinnaras. There were many kinds of minerals, trees, and birds of different types. Adorned with all kinds of ornaments, it seemed to be like an arm of the earth, stretching upward. Gandhamarana's peak was beautiful everywhere. His eyes and his desires were on it, and he thought about it in his heart. The infinitely valorous one's ears, mind, and eyes were fixed on the peaks that resounded to the sound of male cuckoos and the humming of bees. The greatly energetic one inhaled the fragrance of the blossom everywhere and proceeded to climb up Gandhamadana like a mad elephant in the forest. His father, the cool breeze that blows from the Gandhamadana, took away his exhaustion, and fanned by this his body hair stood up. To obtain the flowers, the destroyer of enemies traversed a region frequented by yakshas, gandharvas, gods, and masses of brahmarshis. The clean sides of the mountain were streaked with minerals, golden, black, and silver. The patterns were uneven, as if the mountain had been painted with fingers. With clouds clinging to the side, the mountain seemed to be dancing, as if on wings. Because of the gushing of water from streams, it seemed to wear a string of pearls. It had lovely groves, waterfalls, and caverns. Peacocks danced there in tune with the anklets of apsaras. The elephants that guard the cardinal directions had rubbed the rocky surface with their tusks. When the water was swiftly released from the streams and descended, it seemed as if the mountain was loosening its garments. The deer approached and curiously looked at him, unused to fear, with grass in their mouths. Vayu's son, the handsome Konteya, proceeded happily, as if in sport, tearing away many nets of creepers with the force of his size. The one with the beautiful eyes wished to do that which would bring pleasure to his beloved. The youth was as tall as a golden palm, and his body was like that of a lion. He was as strong as a mad elephant, and he possessed the speed of a mad elephant. His copper-hued eyes were like that of a mad elephant, and he was capable of withstanding a mad elephant. Seated by the sides of their beloveds and invisible to the sight, the wives of Yakshas and Gandharvas watched him and made expressive gestures. As if having adopted a new body, Pandava happily ascended Gandhamarana's beautiful peak. He remembered the many woes that had been inflicted by Duryodhana. Eager to perform the task that the forest-dwelling Draupadi had given, he thought, Arjuna has gone to heaven. I have come away to fetch the flowers. What will the Arya Yudhishthir do? Out of affection and out of distrust for what is in the forest, Yudhishthira, the best of men, will not release Nakula and Sahadev. How can I obtain the flowers quickly? Thinking in this way, the tiger among men traveled with the speed of the king of the birds. The earth shook when his feet struck it, like a storm at the end of an era. The immensely strong Brikodara's speed frightened herds of elephants, lions, tigers, and animals. The strong one forcefully uprooted many gigantic trees and brushed them aside with his chest. Pandu's son swiftly tore aside creepers and lantanas as he climbed higher and higher up the peak of the mountain, like an elephant. He roared like a monsoon cloud streaked with lightning. O Lord, awakened by that terrible sound and the twang of his bow, herds of animals were frightened and fled in all directions. On the slope of the peak of Gandhamadana, the mighty armed one then saw a beautiful grove of plantain trees that extended for many yojanas. The immensely strong one swiftly dashed towards it, like a giant elephant oozing must, like the wind among many trees. Bhima, supreme among those who are strong, uprooted the trunks of many plantain trees that were as large as many palm trees, and thrust them aside. There were many large animals, herds of ruru, a kind of deer, monkeys, lions, buffaloes, and aquatic animals. The lions and tigers were angered and attacked Bhimsen. They were extremely fearsome, their jaws gaped, and their roars were terrible. But Vayu's son Bhima used the strength of his arms and angrily killed elephants with elephants and lions with lions. The Lord, the strong Pandava, used the palm of his hands to kill others. Thus killed by Bhima, lions, tigers, and hyenas crept away fearfully, discharging urine and dung. Pandu's handsome and immensely strong son then swiftly entered the forest and filled all the direction with his roar. Hearing that terrible roar let out by Bhimsen, all the animals and birds in the forest were frightened and fled elsewhere. On hearing the sound of the animals and the birds, thousands of birds flew up. Their wings were wet with water. On seeing those masses of aquatic birds, the bull among the Bharata lineage followed them and saw a beautiful and giant lake. Though it was fanned by clumps of golden plantain trees along its shores, stirred by the breeze, it was tranquil. The lake was adorned with many lotuses and lilies. Descending into the water, the strongest among strong ones sported around like a gigantic elephant. Having sported there for a long time, the infinitely energetic one climbed out and swiftly entered the forest that was full of many trees. With the force of his breath, the Pandava blew on his conch shell. The sound of the conch shell, Bhimsen's roars, and the terrible sound of the slapping of his arms resounded in the mountainous caverns. Hearing the loud sound of the slapping, like the roar of thunder, lions that were asleep in the mountainous caverns let out loud roars. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, the roar of the lions frightened the elephants. The great mountain was filled with their loud trumpeting. Hanuman, bull among monkeys, was asleep. On hearing these roars, the monkey, gigantic in form, began to yawn. He was as gigantic as Indra's flagpole, and he had been asleep in that clump of plantain trees. As he yawned, he lashed the ground with his tail, and the sound was like that of Indra's Vajra. Like a bellowing cow on every side, the mountain echoed from the sound of the tail through the mouths of the giant caverns. Rising above the sound created by the mad elephants, the sound of the lashing of the tail spread throughout the colorful peak of the mountain. On hearing the noise, Bhimsen's body hair stood up. In an attempt to identify the source, he roamed around the grove of plantain trees. Then the mighty armed one found the lord of the monkeys in the middle of the plantain grove, lying down on an elevated and flat slab of stone. He was difficult to look at, like a flash of lightning. He was yellow like lightning. He looked like a flash of lightning. He was as swift as lightning. His short and stout head rested on the crook of his arms. Because his shoulders were so large, the waist above his hips seemed to be slender. His tail was bent at the end and was covered with long hair. It was erect and dazzling like a banner. His lips were red and his tongue had the complexion of copper. His ears were red and his brows moved. His face was like the moon with its beams, and the teeth were round and sharp. The inside of the mouth was adorned with white and dazzling teeth. Above it, the extensive mane looked like a mass of Ashoka flowers. The immensely radiant one was lying down in the midst of the golden plantain trees. His form was as resplendent as a blazing fire, and he looked fearlessly with eyes that were as yellow as honey. Jai Hanuman. Bhima, terrible in prowess, swiftly approached that gigantic and supremely powerful one, supreme among monkeys. He roared like a lion so that the monkey might be forewarned. At Bhima's roar, the animals and the birds were frightened. The immensely powerful Hanuman only opened his eyes a little. He looked at him contemptuously through eyes that were yellow like honey. Smiling, the monkey addressed the human Konteya. I was ill and was happily asleep. Why did you wake me up? Do you not know that it is your duty to show compassion towards all beings? Since we have been born from inferior wombs, we do not know what dharma is, but men have intelligence and should show compassion towards animals. Why do you commit cruel deeds that cause injury to the body, speech, and heart? They are against dharma. You are blessed with intelligence. You do not know what dharma is. You have not served old ones. You have limited intelligence, and in your childishness are injuring animals. Who are you? Tell me. Despite being a man, why have you come to this forest that is shunned by men? From here onwards, the mountain is insurmountable and inaccessible, except by the Siddhas. O brave one, you cannot go there. O immensely powerful one, I am restraining you out of compassion and friendliness. O Lord, you cannot go beyond this place. If you accept my words, relax and eat these roots and fruits that taste like Amrita, then return. 444. Vaishampayana said, on hearing these words of the intelligent Indra among monkeys, Bhimsen, the destroyer of enemies, said, who are you? Why have you assumed the form of an ape? It is a Kshatriya, right after the Brahmana, Varna, who is asking you. I am a Kaurava, and have been born in the lunar dynasty. Kunti bore me in her womb. I am Pandava, and I am Vayu's son. I am known by the name of Bhimasena. On hearing these words of Bhimasena, Hanuman, Vayu's son, smiled and told Vayu's son, Bhima, I am a monkey. I will yield you the pass, as you wish. Do not continue on this path, else you will meet with destruction. Bhima replied, O monkey, I am not asking you about destruction or about anything else. Arise and grant me right of way, otherwise you will confront destruction from me. Hanuman said, I am ill and therefore do not have the strength to get up. If you are determined to go, then jump over me. Bhima replied, the Paramatman without qualities pervades your body and can be known only through knowledge. I cannot insult him by jumping over you. Through my studies, I know him and all beings result from him. Had that not been the case, I would have jumped over you and this mountain, just as Hanuman leapt over the ocean. Hanuman asked, "Who is the one named Hanuman who leapt over the ocean? O best of the Kuru lineage, I am asking you, tell me if you can." Bhima answered, "He is my brother and is renowned of his qualities. He has intelligence, power, and strength. That handsome bull among the monkeys is extremely famous in the Ramayana. For the sake of Rama's consort, this Indra among the apes leapt over the ocean that was 100 yojanas wide in a single leap. That greatly valorous one is my brother. I am his equal in energy, strength, and prowess, and can chastise you in battle. Arise and grant me right of way, otherwise witness my manliness today. Do what I am asking you to, and do not go to Yama's abode." Knowing him to be strong and insolent because of the strength of his arms, Hanuman laughed at him in his heart. He spoke these words: "O unblemished one, show me your favors. Because of old age, I do not have the strength to get up. Exhibit compassion toward me. Pass by moving my tail aside." With a contemptuous smile, Bhima grasped the giant ape's tail with his left hand, but he was not able to move it. Then he tugged at the tail, raised erect like Indra's weapon, with both his hands. But even with both arms, the immensely strong Bhima was unable to move it. His eyebrows contracted, his eyes were dilated, his face became wrinkled with frowns, his body began to sweat, but Bhima could not dislodge it. However much he tried, he was not able to raise the handsome tail. With a face lowered in shame, Bhima stood by the monkey's side. Kunteya bowed down and, joining his hands in salutation, spoke these words: "O tiger among monkeys, please show me your favors and pardon my harsh words. Whether you are a Siddha, a god, a Gandharva, or Guyaka, please tell me who you are. I am asking you and wish to know. Who are you in the form of an ape?" Hanuman said, "O destroyer of enemies, since you are curious to know everything about me, I will tell you everything in detail. O descendant of the Pandava lineage, listen. I was born in Keshari's field from Vayu, who gives life to the universe. O one with the lotus eyes, I am the monkey named Hanuman. All the chiefs of the monkeys waited upon the two kings of the apes, Sugriva, the son of the sun, and Bali, the son of Indra. I was a friend of the immensely brave Sugriva, the destroyer of enemies, like wind to the fire. For some reason, Sugriva was driven out by his brother and lived with me for a long time in Rishyamukha. At that time, the immensely strong hero Dasharati Ram, who was Vishnu in human form, roamed on this earth. In order to please his father, that greatest of archers resorted to Dandakaranya with his wife, with his younger brother, and with his bow. Ravana abducted his wife forcibly from Janasthana, having deceived the immensely wise Raghava in the form of a deer. Having lost his wife together with his brother, Raghava searched for the pass she had taken and met Sugriva, bull among monkeys, on the peak of a mountain. The great-souled Raghava became his friend. Having killed Bali, he instated Sugriva in the kingdom. He sent monkeys to search for Sita. We and crores of monkeys left in one direction, and a vulture gave us news about Sita. To complete the task given by Rama, the performer of unblemished deeds, I swiftly jumped over the ocean that extended for 100 yojanas. I saw the goddess in Ravana's abode, and after having told her my name, returned. Then brave Rama killed all the Rakshasas. He regained his wife, who had been lost like the knowledge of the Vedas. When the brave Rama was instated, I asked him that as long as the deeds of that enemy-destroying hero were recounted on earth, I should be alive that long. He agreed. Rama ruled over this kingdom for 11,000 years and then went to heaven. O unblemished one, O son, since then Apsaras and Gandharvas sing of the deeds of that great hero and bring me pleasure here. O descendant of the Kuru lineage, this road is inaccessible to mortals. That is the reason I have restrained you from traveling along this road, frequented by the gods. O descendant of the Bharata lineage, I do not wish you to be oppressed or cursed. This is the celestial path of the gods, and humans cannot travel along it. But the lake that you came in search of is not far away. Should I keep going, or do you want to take on?
I would just no, I'm come on, I'm on the edge of my seat. Please carry on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hanuman is so great, eh?
Story, you're so lucky. I mean, you're doing so well, and it's just fantastic. I've heard of this story, but
Mm-hmm.
it's so beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to have the context on which it happens.
Yeah, it's true. This is what's so great about this unabridged Mahabharata.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's got text, and it's like, aha, okay, carry on.
445. Vaishampayana said, having been thus addressed, the powerful and mighty armed Bhimasena prostrated himself before his brother and happily spoke these gentle words to Hanuman, lord of the monkeys. Since I have been able to see your illustrious self, no one is more fortunate than I am. Since I have been able to see you, this is a great favor to me, but I desire that you should today do that which is my wish. O brave one, I wish to see your unmatched form that you assumed when you leapt across the ocean, the abode of the sharks. I will then be satisfied and will have faith in your words. Having been thus addressed, the energetic ape began to laugh and said, neither you nor anyone else can see that form of mine that was in another age that no longer exists. Time was different in Krita Yuga and is different in Treta and Dwapara. This is the time of decay, and I no longer possess that form. The earth, rivers, ranges, mountains, siddhas, gods, and maharishis must all conform to time and adjust their forms from one yuga to another yuga. Strength, size, and power decline and then increase again. O extender of the Kuru lineage, therefore do not wish to see that form. I am conforming to the rules of the yugas, and no one can overcome time. Bhima said, then tell me the number of yugas and the conduct from one yuga to another yuga. What are the different forms of dharma, kama, and artha, and variations in size, influence, existence, and death? Hanuman replied, O son, Krita is the yuga when dharma is eternal. At the time of Krita means Satya Yuga, by the way. At the time of Krita, supreme among yugas, there are no deeds to be done. Dharma knew no decay then, nor were beings destroyed. That is the reason this yuga was known as Krita. The word Krita has several meanings, and one meaning is done or accomplished. The sense is that these were accomplished in Krita Yuga. End of footnotes. Those qualities have gone now. O son, in Krita Yuga, there are no gods, demons, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Rakshasas, or serpents. There is no buying or selling. The sounds of Rig, Sama, and Yajur did not exist, nor did rites or manual labor. When thought of the desired fruits appeared, the only dharma was sannyas. At the conjunction of the yugas, there is no disease or decay of the senses. There is no discontentment, no lamentation, no insolence, no wickedness, no strife, no laziness, no enmity, no distortion, no fear, no sorrow, no envy, and no jealousy. The supreme Brahman, the supreme objective of all yogis, and the white Narayana were then in the souls of all beings. Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras were all auspiciously marked in Krita Yuga and were equal in deportment. All beings were engaged in their own tasks. The stages of life, conduct, knowledge, wisdom, and deed were equally distributed among the Varnas, and all of them obtained equal dharma. All of them were united with one Veda. All rituals were performed with one mantra. Though they may have followed different forms of dharma, they actually followed one Veda and one dharma. They followed the 4 ashrams and performed tasks without seeking the fruits, in accordance with the dictates of that time. They attained the supreme objective. Everyone sought for yoga in one's soul, and being united with Dharma, attained the objective. In Krita Yuga, the 4 Varnas had 4 eternal feet. Dharma has 4 feet, pada, in Krita Yuga, 3 in Treta, 2 in Dwapara, and 1 in Kali. The face of a dice with 4 spots is also called Krita, with 3 Treta, with 2 Dwapar, and with 1 Kali. And a footnote. This was known as Krita Yuga, devoid of the 3 qualities. The 3 qualities guna are sattva, rajas, and tamas. These were irrelevant in Krita Yuga. And a footnote. Now hear about Treta Yuga. Sacrifices were introduced then. Dharma decayed by 1/4 then, and Achyuta assumed a red complexion. Men were always addicted to the truth and devoted to the dharma of rituals. That's we were wondering the other day who's the red avatar. We've got our answer here.
So who was it? What is the? You haven't said yet.
No, but well, he's Yagya. He comes to give to establish the way of sacrifices.
But it's okay. So he's going to be described now.
I assumed, or at least it did allusion to him by saying he came as a red complexion. Achyuta assumed a red complexion.
Okay.
Men were always addicted to the truth and devoted to the dharma of rituals. Sacrifices were introduced, and many rituals became part of dharma and treta. These were motivated by reasons, and rituals and donations were because of the fruits that they would bring. People never deviated from the path of dharma and were devoted to austerities and donations. In Treta Yuga, people performed deeds in accordance with their own dharma. Yeah, that was a very quick mention. In Dwapar Yuga, dharma decayed by half. Vishnu assumes a yellow complexion, and there are 4 Vedas. Some people know 4 Vedas, others know 3 or 2 or 1. Still others know no hymns. The sacred text has thus been divided into many parts, and there are many rituals. Beings are engaged in austerities and donations because of their passions. Because the single Veda is no longer known, the Vedas have been divided into many parts. There has been a deviation from the truth, and there are only a few who are established in the truth. When one deviates from the truth, one becomes a prey to many diseases. One resorts to desire, and there are many natural disasters. Being afflicted by these, some men resort to terrible austerities. Others, motivated by a desire to attain heaven, resort to deeds. Thus, having attained Dwapara, beings decay because they are no longer devoted to Dharma. O Konteya, only 1/4 of Dharma remains in Kali Yuga. When this Yuga arrives, Keshava's complexion becomes black. The rituals of the Vedas, Dharma, sacrifices, and deeds fall into these hues. There is excessive rain, disease, sin, and vices like anger. There are many natural calamities. There are ailments and sicknesses. As the yugas proceed, Dharma repeatedly decays. As Dharma decays, beings repeatedly deteriorate. As beings deteriorate, the forces that sustain the world also go into a decline. As the yugas decay, even tasks performed in the name of Dharma lead to perverse outcomes. This is the name of Kali Yuga, which will soon manifest itself. Even those who live for a long time must conform to the changes in the yugas. O destroyer of enemies, you were curious to know everything about me. Why should a learned man wish to know about things that are useless? O mighty armed ones, I have told you everything that you have asked me, including about the number of yugas. May you be blessed. Leave now. Should I keep going a bit more?
What do you think? How's Madan? Is he okay?
Let
How's
him
his...
do one more. Let him do one more. And then
Okay.
it's not quite
It's quite.
9 o'clock.
It's fascinating. It's a brilliant. It's. I've never heard it before. So please carry on.
Yes.
446. Bhima said, I will never go without seeing your earlier form. If you are pleased with me, show me your own form. Vaishampayana said, at these words of Bhima, the ape smiled and showed him the form that he had adopted when he leapt over the ocean. In order to please his brother, he adopted a gigantic shape. His body grew in length and breadth. The immensely radiant monkey stood as large as a mountain, covering the plantain grove. Having attained a gigantic shape that was like a second mountain, with copper-colored eyes, sharp teeth, and eyes marked by frowns, the monkey lashed his long tail and enveloped the directions. Bhima, the descendant of the Kaurava lineage, saw his brother's gigantic shape and was astounded. He was repeatedly delighted. On seeing his blazing energy, like the sun, or a golden mountain, or the sky on fire, Bhima closed his eyes. Hanuman then smiled and spoke to Bhim, saying, O unblemished ones, you are capable of seeing my body up to this point. I can go on extending my body as much as I desire. O Bhima, amidst enemies, my body becomes gigantic through its own energy. On seeing Hanuman's immensely terrible body, the equal of Mounts Vindhya and Mandara, Pavan's son was bewildered. Though he was delighted, his soul trembled. Bhima joined his hands in salutation and spoke to Hanuman, who was still established in that form. O Lord, O immensely valorous one, I have seen your extensive body. Now decrease it through your own powers. I am unable to look at you. You are like the rising sun. You are immeasurable. You are as inaccessible as Mount Menaka. O brave one, it is a source of great wonder to me today that Lord Rama had you at his side. He had to fight with Ravana himself. With the strength of your arms alone, you were capable of destroying Lanka with its armies and vehicles. O Marut's son, there is nothing that is impossible for you. Ravana, with all his armies, was no match for you in battle. Having been thus addressed by Bhima, Hanuman, bull among monkeys, replied in a soft and deep voice, O mighty armed one, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, it is as you say, O Bhima, Bhimsen, that evil Rakshasa was no match for me. But if I had killed that Ravan, the thorn of the worlds, Raghava's glory would have been diminished. That is the reason I ignored him. By killing the Rakshasa king, together with his armies, and taking Sita back to his own city, that brave one established his fame in this world. O immensely wise brother, you are devoted to ensuring my welfare. Protected by Vayu, depart now along a path that is safe and secure. O best among the Kuru lineage, this path will lead you to Sogandika forest and the grove of the Lord of Riches, guarded by Yakshas and Rakshasas. Lord of Riches is Kubera. Do not perform the rash act of plucking any flowers there yourself. O man, a man must specially honor the gods there. O bull among the Bharata lineage, O descendant of the Bharata lineage, when satisfied with sacrifices, oblations, reverence, and mantras, the gods exhibit favors towards the faithful. O son, therefore do not act out of bravery. Observe your own dharma. Abiding by your own dharma, know and follow the supreme dharma. You turn off the rice. Without knowing dharma and without serving the aged, even the like of Brihaspati are incapable of comprehending dharma and artha. One should carefully discriminate among situations where that which is not dharma goes by the name of dharma, and that which is dharma goes by the name that which is not dharma. Those who are deluded in intelligence cannot distinguish. Dharma results from conduct. The Vedas are established on Dharma. Sacrifices originate from the Vedas. The gods are established in sacrifices. The gods are sustained through sacrifices and rituals prescribed in the Vedas. Even men sustain themselves through the ordinance decreed by Brihaspati and Ushanas. Brihaspati is the preceptor of the gods, and Ushanas is Shukra, the preceptor of the demons. Buying and selling, mining, trading, agriculture, and animal husbandry. Even men sustain themselves through the ordinances decreed by Brihaspati and Ushanas. There go buying and selling and mining and trading, agriculture, and animal husbandry. Everything is sustained through such vocations and dharma. For the three varnas, three pursuits have been indicated in the sacred text: study of the three Vedas, following a vocation, and governing. When these are properly followed, the world's welfare is ensured. But if there is no pursuit of dharma, and these three routes to dharma are not followed, this earth is not controlled, and there is no governance. If beings do not follow dharma and their vocations, they will perish. By regularly following the three pursuits, beings prosper. There is one characteristic that marks the eternal dharma of the three varnas: sacrificing, studying, and giving. These are three pursuits that are common to everyone. Performing sacrifices, studying, and accepting constitute the dharma of brahmanas. Protection is that of kshatriyas, and providing sustenance is the dharma of vaishyas. Servitude to the other three varnas is known to be the dharma of shudras, as it is of those who are in their preceptor's house. Students in the brahmacharya stage, and cannot therefore beg for alms or perform oblations and vows. O Konteya, your dharma is that of a kshatriya. Your dharma is protection. Be humble, control your senses, and follow your own dharma. He who has consulted elders, the honest, the intelligent, and the learned, and then resorts to punishment by the staff, governs well, but a decadent one suffers. When a king punishes and rewards according to what is needed, it is then that the contours of the world are properly laid out. Therefore, spies must constantly be used to ascertain the state of the nation, the fortifications, the forces of friends and enemies, and their conditions and of prosperity and adversity. Kings possess four means that lead to success: wise counsel, valor, punishment, and rewards, and sagacity. Whether applied together or in isolation, Sama, Dana, Danda, and Beda can lead to success. O bull among the Bharata lineage, spies and counsel are the source of policies. Good counsel leads to success, and one should consult with those who are skilled. In secret matters, one should not consult with a woman, with a fool, with a child, with one who is greedy, with one who is mean, and with one who is touched by insanity. One should only consult with wise ones and get tasks undertaken by those who are capable. Policies must be devised by those who are gentle. Fools must always be avoided. Those who follow Dharma must be engaged in matters related to Dharma. Learned ones in matters connected to Artha. Eunuchs in matters connected to women. And cruel ones for the performance of cruel deeds. The nature of action, what should be done and what should not be done, and the reasons behind any particular task should be decided on the basis of the relative strengths and weaknesses of one's enemy, as well as one's own. Using one's intelligence, favors should be shown to righteous ones who have sought refuge. However, evil and unskilled ones must be repressed. When a king follows reward and chastisement properly, the boundaries of the world are laid out properly. O Partha, this is a difficult and terrible dharma that I have delineated for you. Follow this humbly in accordance with what has been prescribed as your own dharma. The Brahmanas go to heaven through the dharma of austerities, control of the self and oblations. The Vaishyas obtain the desired objective through donations, serving, guests, and rituals. Like that, the Kshatriyas attain heaven on earth through protection and punishment, without being addicted to desire and hatred, without avarice and controlling their anger, and chastising appropriately. They reach the worlds attained by the virtuous. Tak? All right, I think we can end here.
That was wow. That was well read. That was brilliant. What a story!
Thank you.
What a fantastic! I mean, I don't know about you, but I was seeing the cinematic.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah.
You want to stop the recording?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's stop that. Okay.